Can you hear me now? Whoop! Merlin, stop. Okay. He is not helping me this morning. Okie dokie. I'm doing okay. I had kind of a slow start, which is funny because I woke up at 10, so I've been up. But I just did that thing where you lay there and you don't move. And I did that until 10:53. I need probably a ruler for part of this. And also, I know it is a little bit dark, but I can't really move the lamps from the other room on my own, and I don't like to. So I'm just hoping that it stays light enough outside that it works. Give myself a couple guidelines. You can't even see that. That's better. Where did my eraser go? Oh, here it is. Maybe if I had the camera capturing the whole thing, that would be good. Thank you, Bob. I'm kind of going to use this rectangle to, like most of the body of the bottle will probably fit in here. Where's the middle? It's not quite 5 inches. So it's about there. The notifications went out this morning, which, I mean, as they should, but they don't always for everybody, but those were the first ones too, because Capuchin very graciously set that up for me. So we now have live notifications. I don't know why I'm kidding myself and keeping this wrapper on my eraser. That is not helping me out. I think I want the neck to be... I don't know, do I want this bottle to be thinner, maybe? No, I don't think so. I kind of want there to be a lot of room in it. This will be okay. It doesn't have to look exactly like every bottle of whiskey I ever drank for people to get the metaphor, I think. I really did position this right up on the edge, though. This is like my biggest issue with, like, regular drawing pads that I can afford normally, is they are so small. I mean, they're like standard A4 paper size, but I really need, like, the big paper. I spread out too much. Something like that. Merlin. Oh. I moved the whole ruler when I started doing that. That was bad. I'm doing that same old tired but good song and dance, Bob. You know how it is. I've been trying to get back into doing my, I have like this low impact stretch routine that I modify every few months, because every few months it's like, alright, we're doing it every day again. Because it's not a big deal, it's like 10 minutes. And then I've been trying to do it again because I got out of doing it again, and I'm just like, whew, why am I exhausted from regular stretches? What's wrong with me? Wow, that got really blurry. Focus, damn you. Focus. Camera. Camera focus. Oh my god. Why will it not? This is tragic. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, still blurry. Good morning, Capuchin. I'm trying to make the camera focus. By moving it, because that's all I know. Sobriety's been it's been a cooler time than I thought, because the reality is, like, not to get super deep or anything, but at least I'm not, like, drunk and falling out of windows and cutting my alarm open anymore. Because that means that Patrick has to take me to the emergency room for the whole night, and that's just not... it's just not really good. But you know what really makes me want to drink again is this camera not focusing. Oh my god, there it went. Finally. Shit. The thing was being a fuck ass. Oh no, my pencil just broke. I'm gonna die. But look at my pencil sharpener. Yeah, boy. Merlin. Dude. This pencil is taking forever to sharpen. And the camera went out of focus again. I see how the fuck it is. Okay, I'm changing pencils. They're not all the same pencil, but I'm changing the pencil because that one's not sharpening proper. And I'm gonna have to find my, it's not an X-Acto knife. Well, I mean it is. It's the box cutter. I use a box cutter for some of these pencils when they don't act like they should. Yeah, that one's fine. How do I want to build this up? I really didn't come in here with a whole lot of, like, hard ideas about what I wanted to do. Decided I wanted to come in and wing it. That's what I've done every drawing stream so far, and it's worked out pretty well, I think. Right? It was like you knew what your surroundings were. You could walk without, like, doing weird shit. I had actually been trying to get sober for a while. Since the year I met Patrick, which was about 5 years. And initially it was because, like, I had some traumatic stuff happen, and I had been drinking for a long time, like, to self-medicate, and it wasn't really, definitely was not healthy. And then, like, it got to a point where I would go a lot of months and I'd be like, maybe I can just moderate. And that was a mistake because pickles cannot just moderate. ever. Like, that's just not something that happens between me and alcohol. And, like, the last time I drank, I publicly embarrassed myself, which really isn't new for me, because I always feel embarrassed, kind of, but the reality is that I felt embarrassed because I had accepted somebody's offer to drink when partially I did not want to, and I knew that they would have accepted my no as an answer. If that makes any sense. Like, it wasn't even like pressure, but I was like, oh, it'll be fine, and then it wasn't. And the older I get, and the like more I would continue to drink, I just wasn't the same type of drunk either. Like, I'm not able to go out and just kind of have fun drinking anymore. I get real shitty by the end of the evening. Like, I'm just not even nice anymore. And usually Patrick has to deal with most of that, and that's not something he should have to do. And then I always get really bad migraines because I get chronic migraines. I don't know why I ever thought drinking would be a smart decision for me. Probably because I was like really young at the time that I started drinking. Okay, the first time I did that it looked cool. This time it does not. But yeah, it took me like 5 years to get 1 year sober. Which, that part I'm not embarrassed about. Like, I'm still really like, yeah, I finally fucking did it. But I'm told it gets way easier once you hit the 3 year, which would be nice. Not that I'm like at risk for drinking every day. We don't even keep alcohol in our house anymore. Except for like isopropyl for like emergency big wounds and cleaning things whenever I'm practicing with my tattoo supplies and stuff, but nothing else. So it's like there's not a lot of temptation around, but it's one of those things where it's like I do think about alcohol every day, even though I actively do not want it. And it's weird because it was like, oh, I really thought that I just wasn't gonna think about it. Well, yes, there definitely is. But I don't know, I always just feel compelled to say that. It's my chronic fear of being misunderstood. I also, listen, I will admit to owning mouthwash. Watch out. But also that shit fucking burns and I barely use it, even though I bought it because I need it and it hurts. I hate it. This Listerine I have, every time I use it, it literally feels like it's peeling the inside of my mouth away, and it's just like a fresh burned, fresh mouth skin every time, and I'm like, bleh, this feels weird. When I was a kid, I heard about some people drinking mouthwash because they were so desperate, and I was like, I can't even imagine that. Well, that's what I did say. Like, I can imagine it better now, but I've still never, like, done it or wanted to do it. I could imagine, like, if you were just that angsty of a teen, maybe trying that. And then throwing up, maybe. You never heard about that, Bob? People are wild. That's all I know. I feel like these waves look pretty cool. Cinnachoo. I do not recommend it soda. Part of the reason that I do not is because I started drinking when I was underage. And my parents didn't even keep alcohol in the house very often because my mom's husband at the time was a recovering alcoholic. And I still managed to just do that to me. So, plus, first of all, most booze is just nasty. That's also part of how I know I was addicted, was because I didn't even care. I was like, this is gross, I'm gonna drink it. Nobody should be doing that. To that level. I also want to add some clouds in the background. How are you today, Cinnachoo? Part of this looks weird. I love how literally we all are we're all basically on the same sleep schedule even though we all live in different places. We're all like, well, I woke up and rolled out of bed and immediately came here. And I'm like, oh wow, me too. I'm thinking, I promise. I'm not just like not doing the thing. Can't decide where I want to put. I kind of want some lightning in the background, but I want a few of the lightning bolts to kind of like layer over some of the waves, but I don't want it to cover up this like really neat twisty stuff I did. I want it to add to it, so I'm kind of trying to be strategic. Yeah. Ooh, that makes sense. I've always had kind of a weird sleep schedule no matter where I lived, but I've always lived in the same time zone. I've just moved a gazillion times. Part of it, I think, is my insomnia. Another part of it, I think, is trying to adjust to when Patrick stays up to play Tarkov, because we've moved the morning streams to the evening now, so it's like easier for him to be up later. So I'm trying to kind of match the schedule, and I have just been groggy about it, you know? It's like the worst paper boat I have ever drawn. That's a little better. I don't know. I feel like I need to make the angles on it more angly. I've always lived in the same town, the same state. I have lived so I've always lived in the same state, and I currently live in the town I was born in. I just in my teen years alone, like from when I was 12 to 18, I moved more than 10 times alone. And it wasn't all in the same town, but like they were all in areas of the state that I have been in. Yeah, Synergy, we moved a lot. Rentals. And part of the reason that it got kicked off was we lived at a house for 5 years, and that was the longest we had ever lived anywhere. And then that was when the first time that I remember the market crashing, and the bank took our house. And then every year after that, pretty much, we like moved to different rental places. Some of the houses were really, really cool, and I wish we could have stayed at them. But some of the houses that were really cool, we were renting like outside of our means, just because partially because they were available, and they were closer to wherever my mom was working at the time, and partially because I really think that my mom wanted it to work out, even though it just didn't. I have quite a bit of moving anxiety now, even though I don't want to live where we live right now forever, by any means. It's just kind of a big ordeal for me these days. This doesn't really... I just don't know how I feel about that wave that I put there. This page is going to have so many lines all over it because I've just got so much pressure in my hand today. Heavy fucking handed. Okay, I can figure this out. Right, right. All we just need is to get that show on the road and it'll be good. Oops. I think part of the reason that I hated moving so much was it's not like my mom's fault. She was really trying to make like real homes for us every single time. But every single time I got more and more inclined to just try and keep my bags packed because I was so stressed out. And then that would usually like become some sort of argument because I was like a pretty grumpy teenager. I had some undiagnosed things. Nobody knew that I had autism yet. Most of them still don't quite understand what I'm talking about when I say I learned I have autism. They're just like, I disagree. And I'm like, oh, I'm glad you're a doctor. But like, it was just very stressful, and now I have like some residual like, emotions about it. Even though like there are often times where I'm like, dang, I would totally move right now. But that's got more to do with our landlord not taking care of our current property we live at than anything. Plus the city is kind of not the best. There's definitely better cities out there. Central to the same main road? Wow. I can't explain why, but I just find that concept so interesting. So, like, do you often see the other houses that you lived in and you just drive by and you're like, that was my window? Because sometimes I'll drive by houses that I lived in and I'm like, that was my window. Or sometimes I'll drive by and then they're not there anymore and I'm like, that house is gone. That's always weird. When a house that you lived in is just gone. Even if you know exactly why it got tore down, because it was like a piece of shit. I think I might be ready to start outlining. We passed on the way to the grocery store, we passed one of the first houses that I ever lived in that I remember. That wasn't my grandma's house. It's a little apartment building. And it's just really, really weird. I don't know, I don't think it's like really, really weird. It's just like, oh hey, that's like when I was like 3, I lived there, and I remember the carpet was blue, and I remember that my cousin lived next door, and it's like a bunch of weird like little things that I just remember about living in that apartment. And it's right next to the exact same, well, it's not the exact same convenience store. It's owned by new people, and they technically changed the name. But the old sign, all they did was flip it around. So if you're driving the opposite way on the road, you see the same old sign, and it's like retro, and it's got a vintage tiger on it. And I'm like, oh yeah, we used to walk to that sign when I was little to buy my mom cigarettes. I know all of this stuff. And it's just kind of weird. Very blasty from the pasty. I'm doing the smallest details with a size 2, and then I'm going to go back with, I have a couple of different sizes. I don't know where my 5s are. I've got an 8, I've got my brush pen, I've got a 005, which is very small, and a 01, which is one smaller than this. But I'm probably going to use this 2 for the smallest details, and everything else is going to get something bigger. I know what that's like when you drive by and it's like, oh, why did they do that? There's a couple of houses that we lived at, like the one that we actually lived at for 5 years. I still remember the phone number to that house and different things like that. I still remember its exact address. Not all of them do I remember. That would be way too much. Plus, when I was a teenager, after a while, I really stopped caring about a lot of the details of those things because I was like, we're not going to live here very long anyway. I don't know if this is really translating well, but I wanted this wave to kind of be shaped like a weird hand because I want it to look like it's about to like attack the boat. If it doesn't look like that, that's fine. I still think it looks cool. But that's kind of what I was going for. Do you see that, Bob? Cool. As long as one person sees it, then that makes it real. That's the rule of art. If one person sees what you're trying to do, then it's fine. That's all it takes. So then you're gonna move 4 times. Are you still trying to stay? Is your family gonna stay in that town? Probably. It would make sense, I guess, since you've already stayed there so many times. Ooh, up north. I'm trying to think. I was thinking for a minute and I'm like up north from Florida. And then I was like, oh no, that's still very south. I've been like through Florida a few times, but never to any place that wasn't like very touristy. But I know that there are some parts in northern Florida that are just so beautiful. I can understand that. A couple times we moved, it was in the same city because it was like my brother was in elementary school and um, they wanted him to kind of have some of the same like school students from year to year, so we moved around in the same town a couple of times so that it wouldn't be quite as big of an adjustment. Oh gosh, my lines. I need to turn this or my lines are just not gonna turn out. They still might not, but. Whoosh. Well, that ended better than it started. That's fine. I was worried that that line was gonna go very catastrophically. But if it did, we would have been okay. Like, I really would have just kept going. I don't know. I get so worried about it, but it's like, I don't know why I'm worried. I'm just gonna draw it on it anyway. Like, I'm not gonna stop working on this just because it got a little funky. The interesting thing about drinking is I always knew that my grandfather had a problem with drinking, and my father has a problem with drinking and other drugs. But the way things kind of are in our local area, it's not even that there's a lot of pressure to drink for kids, it's that pills are very available. And I used to have a problem with pills when I was like 14. And I started drinking when I was a little bit older instead, because I was observing some people that had been doing pills for a while that were young, and they already looked really, like, old. They looked pretty old. But also, one thing that I noticed, which isn't necessarily a good indicator that it's a good thing, but people that drank could go to bars, and people at bars seemed like they were having fun, even if they were just drunk, or like they seemed like they had friends that they saw regularly. And I thought that for some reason that would be, like, better. Not that I really needed to be doing any of it, but, like, I do feel like part of the thing with, like, moving so much was it did really stress me out and give me a lot of anxiety and stuff, and I really had no way to burn off that, like, steam, I guess. And so I was just, like, trying anything to feel different. Part of my pill problem was that they were prescribed to me, and I hated the way that they made me feel. It was weird. Like, sometimes I hated the way they made me feel nothing, so I would try other things to feel stuff. And then sometimes I wanted to feel more nothing, because the pills were not making my mental illnesses any better. Now we get to erase lines. It's just weird how stuff that, like, can be so detrimental kind of walks into your life, I guess. When you need it the least, it will always be there. Shoo. It was definitely a test that I failed, Sinachu. The test that I failed was the drug and alcohol test. It's weird how, like, so many different factors can, like, influence the way that you'll go. Like, I also knew whenever I was in school, like, I lived in a very rural area in the Bible Belt, and so when the DARE program came to our school, I don't know if they have the DARE program in Canada. It's DARE, and I don't remember. Drug Abuse Resistance Education is what it stands for, and it's like basically don't do drug stuff, but they told us stuff that I knew even as a child wasn't real, and they weren't, most of what they were talking about was actually just cannabis, but they were saying things about it that medically we know to be false, like that your reproductive organs would definitely 100% shut down if you used cannabis and stuff like that. And so growing up, I didn't have a very serious view of anything like that. I didn't think they were telling us that for any reason other than they were, like, really bigoted. Because I didn't really have any interaction with cannabis or anything until I was much older in life, because pills were given to me first, unfortunately. But it was just like, oh yeah, they don't want us to do this because we're still growing or something. But I never really, they tried to express seriousness in a lot of those situations, but they just missed the mark. Oh, Nancy Reagan, she was the one that was like, listen, I have a message for the youth of America. Just say no. And everyone was like, oh, thanks. Thank you for this wisdom. She probably did a lot more than that, but that's what everybody knows about. Oh, the Reagan times. I'm pretty glad I wasn't alive for those. Like I've said in the past when I was growing up that I was born in the wrong era, but I didn't mean that I was born too much in the future and I wanted to go back by any means. Like, I would rather be born further into the future if I could, maybe. If I could have been born into like a really cool, liberated, Star Wars future, that's what I mean when I say the wrong time. I was not born when Captain Picard was there to wear a dress, you know? Foolish. God really wanted to fight me on that one. Merlin, you do not need to run and slide across the desk. I'm trying to decide my colors. Dude. He's so damn orange. That's all I know about him. I want some of these earthy colors because it is a storm. Okay. What does this color look like? That's just a gray. Okay. This is just a lighter gray? Yeah, it is. Cool. You're right, Soda, it really was. That did not happen at my school, but we were, like, when the DARE program was, like, really, when I remember it happening, was 5th grade, so we were all 11, and I know that it's not impossible, but if an 11-year-old at Corden had that, it would not have been. That was the type of school that even though they weren't supposed to, they had the 10 Commandments up in a lot of the classrooms, you know what I mean? They taught science, but they really didn't. They taught animal science, but they didn't touch on evolution so much as they would just substitute it for more food chain stuff. I feel like maybe it was just, I don't know, that whole school was weird. That whole school still is weird. Dang. Whatever kid did that grew up to be Florida man. I don't know. You can't really see it. I'll hold it up when I'm done. I'm doing like the little stippling type of shading on this here cloud. You can kind of see it. one of my best friends actually, in the 5th grade, won the DARE, what is it? The DARE, not assessment. They have you do the, like, writing project thing. And my friend won for the best written DARE report or whatever. It's kind of funny because they are a teacher now, and even they are like, looking back, everything that we learned was bullshit. I've got to do better for my students. And I'm like, you know what, you probably do. Because students nowadays are like even wilder. Not like as in they're poorly behaved, but just like they know about everything. Because of course they do. So like, they're gonna know when you're lying to them about that stuff. They will Google it. They're computer youths. They know how to do things. Can't make up weird shit about their organs shutting down. I think my brother said that when, I don't know if it was DARE that came to talk to them or not, but I know that my brother at his school one time they talked to them, but it was more about nicotine and like cigarettes and vaping and stuff like that. Which I vaped CBD for a while, and I would like to again because I feel like it helped my anxiety a lot. But the mod that I got was meant for nicotine, and the dude sold it to us simply because I thought it looked cool. And I was kind of pissed about that actually, because it was like, if you would have just told me in the first place, I would have bought one that was right for CBD, and then you would also still have me as a customer probably because you didn't fucking lie to me. Because this mod wasn't meant to have that type of fluid in it, and it leaks all over no matter what, just because of how it's made, and it's just like very frustrating, and we spent a lot of money on it. But apparently that dude's like notoriously a dumbass in town. So we didn't get a sex ed packet. We got a video about how our bodies would like look different before and after puberty, and then they gave us some teen spirit and sent us on our way. That was literally it. One of the schools that I went to in the 7th grade, this isn't a judgment, because in our state they are rated as one of the happiest counties in the entire state. But when I was in the 7th grade and I was 13, in my English class, there were 4 girls in there that were pregnant, and I don't know why they waited until 8th grade to do sex ed at that school, because the 7th graders already had it figured out. Like, I'm not judging them. Like, the people that were pregnant, I'm just saying, like, the school should have upped their game a little bit if they were going to teach about that. Like, you gotta hit it at the time when you need to. You can't wait until later. That's one of them poor rural schools. I think that's pretty much the only type of school. I did go to one rich kid school, but I had a breakdown every day for the first 3 days until my mom took me out of school. It was so weird. It was the worst school I ever went to. Everyone was so fucking mean. Not everyone at that school was rich, mind you. It was just like, it's the school in the area where all of the doctors' kids go, and children will drive like Hummers to work or to school for no reason other than the fact that their parents are rich or whatever. And we were in the thick of the whole moving every year thing, and I was like so deep in my depression and shit, and I just couldn't handle all that. There was so much fucking ignorance at that school too. Like, they would make fun of every other school based on the fact that the other schools didn't have the funding that they did. They thought that if you went to like a trade school or something, you were a failure, etc., which ultimately is a big failure on part of their teachers and parents in their lives. But also, like, if you're like 16, 17 and you can't rationalize that that's fucking awful, then I don't know. Oops. And plus, it never really helps when you just absolutely know zero people at any of the schools that you ever go to. I was always the PE teacher. So our like puberty class was just basically like they split the kids up. Boys in one room, the girls and me, and the other trans guys in another room because we didn't know what that was. And then they just showed us a video with a cartoon lady whose boobs slowly grew to like adult mature woman boobs, and they were like, have at it, kids, that's it, good job. They were like, this is gonna happen, your periods are gonna make you want to die, go away. And I was like, oh, okay, thanks. Thanks for that. Because the history teacher was the football coach. Why am I picturing like the buffest history teacher in the world because of that? I know that that's not always the case with coaches. Sometimes they're just regular people, but I was just picturing like super ripped history guy. Pretty much had to like learn all that stuff on my own, which means that for a lot of years I didn't understand anything. But yeah, puberty is a hellscape, and I've chosen to do it twice for some reason. Dr. Quinn! Good morning! We are talking about body things, because that's what happens. And Sin, you're absolutely right. So like when I was 11, I started getting cramps so bad, I would absolutely 100% for real pass out at school. And those never stopped. Sometimes I still feel like I'm gonna pass out, and sometimes I do. And I don't know why they won't just be like, listen, we think that, like, you have endo because your mother does, but they just won't be like that. And I'm like, listen, crampy hurt. Could you just look at it again? Could you just check on this? But the reality is I get cysts inside of my body and they just fucking hurt. I think the very best part of my transition will be when I get, like, those organs removed. Because, honestly, I just really want them removed so bad. They won't take them out because I don't want children. Maybe they will take them out because of this. Well, we started talking about at the beginning. I was talking about how I'm sober now, and then we started talking about the DARE program, and then we started talking about America's education system a bit, and it just kind of went from there. So then we were talking about puberty and sex ed talks, or lack thereof. Quinn, did you have a school that taught you things? Or were you more like me? I feel like someone's around. Wow, Bob. I wish I went to your school. At my school, they knew my father was native, and they would still look me in the eye and be like, the natives taught us to grow corn, and we all held hands and were friends forever. And I'm like, listen, I hate every single one of you fuckers. You know I'm real mad when I point with my eraser. I will erase you. Quinn was taught things. That was the only message I saw when I looked up, was I was indeed taught things. I was handed a gift basket of lies. I feel like I definitely went to school at a weird time. Which, I mean, going to school in America at any time is probably a weird time to be going to school, but like, I was barely old enough in the 4th grade, like, when we had the puberty talk and everything. That was also the year that 9/11 happened. That thing that people won't let go of. And I was young enough to where they thought we were old enough to see it on TV in our classroom. But we weren't old enough to be given any context to what any of it means. So every day, all day, we just had this horrifying news on the TV that nobody was explaining to us. Oh yeah, they did that whole thing where we only read Anne Frank every year. Which, listen, I love Anne, but like, every year, that's not the only education you need for that. And of course there was like the whole history book names and dates and stuff, but they did that project where I didn't know I was Jewish yet, but I still hated this project because why would you like this project? But the class was split into 2 groups, and the groups had to debate upon the pros and cons of the Holocaust. Like, the Holocaust as a whole. We are talking pros and cons, and I'm like, listen, just because Volkswagen exists now doesn't mean we need to make a pros list, you know? Nothing was good about that Sinichu. Nothing was good about it. A lot of our Native American studies was watching movies made by white people, too. Like, we watched The Last of the Mohicans solely for the point that our history teacher wanted to be like, look at how bad this movie is, but not for how anything was portrayed. He was just like, look, and over here on the screen you can see the director's baseball cap in the shot, and over here you can see the boom operator. And that was like 2 days of class time was just wasted on that. Nightbot, not the time for dancing. Nightbot's just trying to lighten the mood, you know? Usually the Nightbot dancing is appropriate, so I'll let it pass. feel like actual ocean water is a lot more brown than green and blue, but I don't want the whole thing to be brown. So like the parts that are detached and like these little like sprays, I'm not gonna do like super dark because when the water separates it looks lighter. I don't know if that makes sense. That's what I'm gonna try and do. And then at the bottom, I think in like the like corners and stuff, I might go in with like some dark purple. I don't know. We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out how it goes. I just feel like if I do the ones on top lighter, they'll stand out better. Right? I think I might go back in when I'm finished. And I don't have like a white marker or pen, but I do have white paint and some very tiny paint brushes, and I might come in and like add some little like stuffs to it. Just to kind of give it some dimension. Most of the water in the Ohio River in the part where we live is greenish gray, except for when it rains and it just looks like nasty brown. But a lot of the time it just looks like nasty brown. It's very polluted. It's a very sad river. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, just give it a little bit of something something. I really like it when people mix like markers and paints and different stuff in the same piece. I have some like alcohol markers, like the real kind, but I don't have the right kind of paper to use them with right now. I had it earlier. Here it is. Merlin kept knocking it down.
Thank you.
Yep.
Let me get drinks.
Okay. Oh, I bet if I went in with some of the grays too, that might also be good. I'm gonna try and hit like the bottom of this with a little bit of brown. Oh, that's a very dark brown. That's a very Ohio Rivery brown. Yuck. There's some schmutz. Schmutz in that water. Ooh, but I think it's gonna look good. Now that I'm adding this purple, I think it is. These markers are Artist's Loft brand. Render. 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 It won't, but yeah, it's just Artist Loft. They came, my mom got them for me. They came in a big box. Like, I have a gazillion of these. I think they came from Michael's. I don't know what stores you have in Canada, to be honest. Yeah, they are kind of like those. They're just like slightly more from an art store is like, I believe, the only difference. They might be a little more optimized to be used in sketchbooks, but I'm not even sure. That could also be fake. This corner is getting a little like peacock-like, and I can't say that I hate it. Ooh, that sounds icky, Soda. What happened? I mean, I'm sure, like, pollution and stuff happened, because that's what's happening to a lot of it. But it sounds so sad. The last time I had the opportunity to go to a beach, I didn't actually get to. It was when BP did the whole oil spill thingy that we all know and love, and it was on the other side of Florida, and technically at that point in it, it was safe to go to the beach, but my mom didn't want to risk us getting sick or anything, so we did not, which I respect now, but whenever I was younger, I was just so bitter about it. I was so salty. I was like, I just want to pick up a shell, you guys. I just want to pick up a shell. She definitely made the right call on that one. Like, I probably, like, that was, yeah. We just really wanted to. We did not get to go on vacations very often. And, my mom's actually kind of an expert of getting like deals on vacations, because she will listen to anybody talk about a timeshare program. She has nerves of steel when it comes to that stuff. She's like, I know that if I listen to this, I will get family passes to Disney, and by God, we are going. And so we got to do that. Like, not only did we get, it was like, she got, how many passes did she get? I want to say she got 2, or like either an adult and a child for free, or the adult tickets were free. So we were able to, it was me, my mom, her husband, my brother, and then we got to take one of my cousins along too because of the money that we saved. So since I was we were teenagers, we were allowed to walk by ourselves at Disney. So that was like a big deal. We were like, ooh yeah, we are adults. Look at us. As we screamed because we saw Tigger. I saw Tigger at Disney, by the way. I've met a celebrity. I cried a little. It was fine. Also, if anybody knows there's these Tumblr posts about a very infamous dude that played Peter Pan. I met that guy. He's like the sweetest Peter Pan. It was like a few years ago that he like was really popular on there. Ooh. That's icky. So I was right, it is pollution. That sounds like really gross though. I didn't know that like getting sugar and stuff like caused anything like that to happen. I've never lived anywhere where that was a thing. Like around here, our water is gross partially because of like all of the coal that everybody seems to think is good. A lot of coal is fucking shit up. And I don't know how to explain it. There's just so many factories and stuff along the river. Oh, I didn't know. I guess that makes sense, but like, why do you need to make the sugar white? Why can't the sugar keep its melanin, so to speak? Like, why can't it be brown sugar? Is that wrong to have brown sugar? Does the bleaching it do anything? I don't feel like it's necessary if it's gonna cause that much of a issue to the water, though. Like, I don't know. I would sacrifice all of the white sugar if it meant that the water was clean. We already have enough problems with unsavory water because of the things that this country does. I don't know. Call me a hippie, I guess. I think that's like pretty wrong. I don't know. I still get like pissed not almost all the time, but like at the drop of a hat, just because Flint, Michigan still does not have clean drinking water. And Nestle did that whole bullshit thing where they're like, if you buy X amount of water, we'll donate water for free. And I'm like, you could donate water for free now. Part of this is your fault. And they're just like, no. I hate Nestle so much, you guys. You're making me angry. Like, if corporations didn't want us to hate us so much, they literally could use a few of their billions to, like, do anything. Sin, the thing about Elon Musk is he's put so much trash into outer space. I can only imagine the amount of trash he's put into the Earth. He's put so much trash into space that NASA can't even do stuff. But also, Elon Musk is literally just shorthand for elongated muskrat. So, take that with you. I learned that on Twitter the other day from a shitposting account. But it's true. I can't stop thinking about it. It could just be elongated muskrat shortened down. No, wait, I want to use something else. It's true. And Elon is not. That's mostly a judgment of his personality, but not all of it, okay? Him and Zuckerberg have the same, like, I don't care about you look on their face. And the thing that pisses me off about it is Elon blames it on learning that he is autistic, but then later went to express that it's fine for him to be like how he is, because he basically said that even though he found out that he has autism, he believes that like people with autism essentially do not have souls. And I'm just not letting him into my autistic club is what I'm saying. I have so much soul. That's just how you know that he's not very educated about what the spectrum of autism is, even if he does have it. Like, you've got to be more educated on it than that if you're going to talk about it. Because for as many people with autism that have lower empathy, there's people like me that I have so much of it that sometimes I will just start crying out of nowhere because I know that sometimes people get sad and that just fucks me up. And then I start crying and Patrick's like, "Why are you crying?" And I'm like, "The world is sad." And I can't fix all of it at once. Like, there's more than one type of autistic person. I don't know. That could very well be it too. Or I could also see him having it and then just refusing to accept accountability because of it. It doesn't happen very often, like, with people that aren't super rich, but it does sometimes happen where people are like, "Well, I have XYZ, so you can't, whatever. And I'm like, I just make a little mockery voice out of, I don't know. The thing that I hate the most is a lot of his little stands after that were trying to, like, essentially gatekeep autism from the autistic community. Because they were like, I don't know. Like, some of his people basically think that if you have autism but you don't think that he's a great guy, then you don't have autism. Because that's how it works, is automatically you have to worship everybody else who has it or something. I don't know. The normies are not okay, is what I'm getting at. They are not the real normies, I don't think. Also, I have gripped this marker so much that, like, it is bowed in the middle a little bit. Do you see that? I use this marker a lot. It's just such a pleasing color. I have to stop for a minute. I gotta stretch. Phew. Okay. I kind of want to add more, like, yeah, like this dark blue for some motion lines. Some of these markers are a little bit dry because I've had them for a few years now, but ultimately, like, I feel like the colors, they layer pretty good without blending too much, so you don't lose everything in translation. Like, when I'm using markers versus paints, I oftentimes don't want that, like, seamless blend, as pretty as it often is to have such a seamless, like, color gradient. But, like, this looks more gritty, kind of like the actual ocean water I've seen. Looks a little more salty, I guess, when it's got motion lines in it. I wish it would focus a little bit better on my preview screen. That makes me nervous. It says it's running okay, though. But if I know anything from watching the Cyclops stream, that can be just such a fucking lie. Thank you, Bob. I have this page in one of my journals that I keep, because I say one of my, I have like 8 journals that I keep, like, actively for reasons. And one of them is called a bullet journal. I don't know if anyone here is familiar with those. A lot of people keep them as, like, a schedule, and they use them to, like, track stuff over periods of time. And there's a lot of emphasis in the community for, like, hand drawing, like, timetables that, like, for, like, appointments and stuff like that in it. I tend to use mine for long-term tracking of goals, like 6 months of doing my like exercises or whatever. And I have one page in there that I get to color today that I've never gotten to color. And it's because when I started wanting to be sober, like completely from alcohol, I drew it in there, and then I wasn't able to get to a year of sobriety for so long. But basically it's a 5-year spread all on one page, and each year is symbolized by a teacup. I drew a stack of teacups in there, and the top of the page it says sobriety, but it's like SOBER, how did I spell it? It's TEA at the end, sobriety. And for every year for the next 5 years, as long as I get there, I get to color in a teacup. I don't know what I get at the end, but like for some reason, whenever I started it, I was like, listen, if I can make 5 years, I'm probably golden. And from asking around in the sober community online and stuff, a lot of people do say that it gets very much easier. Like year 3 is when you stop thinking about it so much. If you're one of the types of people like me, like you just think about it a lot, even if you don't want it while you're thinking about it. And I feel like that's very relieving, but also I'm really excited because I tend to do longer term goals and stuff because I'm not as good at tracking smaller things. Like sometimes I am and sometimes I'm not, but I tend to save pages for like stuff that I'm really committed to, I guess. I really love bullet journaling. I feel like for me, it's very mentally calming to have a project like that. That said, I still have like pages that were supposed to be finished in 2019 that I haven't gone in and finished. I started drawing stuff and then I put all the information in it and then I finished the thing and then I didn't finish coloring the thing. And I'm like, oh, this looks really bad and unfinished. I should go color it. And then I don't. Depending on like how long it takes me to finish this, I might color my teacup on stream. Mostly because I really, like, even if I don't, I will probably show it off because I am really proud of my bullet journal. I put some of the pages on my Instagram, but only sometimes because, I don't know, I like tracking my mental health and I like sharing that I do that because I think that it's positive. Like, it shouldn't be stigmatized. That's a really good thing to do. But then sometimes, like in the past when I was doing my YouTube channel and I was really young, I would do that, and people that were very nice, but sometimes like worse off than me, would come to me for advice on things that I couldn't necessarily help them or guide them on, but they would insist that I needed to because they themselves were not in the best mental place. And if I post too much about mental health, I'm worried that I'm going to take on somebody else's feelings as my responsibility. So mostly because I've been prone to doing that. So like I like to do it, but I do it in moderation to try and not put myself into a position where my boundaries are compromised, I guess. Sin, that sounds exactly like how you do bullet journaling, like, professionally. It doesn't have to look perfect for you to be doing the thing right. But also some people have like journals that are part bullet journal and part like regular journal, or part like one person that I know, they have a lot of immunity issues and like dietary stuff, and they have like a health journal that they keep that is also part bullet journal, and they call them omni journals because they kind of encompass all of the things that they're trying to journal about at once. My bullet journal is kind of like that, in the sense that I geared it mostly towards my mental, like, well-being and stuff like that, but I also do other, like, mundane things in it. It's a very vague term, so, like, it can apply to a lot of stuff, but that's kind of what it sounds like for, like, drawing in your regular journal with trackers and stuff. That's what it reminds me of. Hold on a second. I realized just now that I did not close my... There's like a little wave that's got to come back down here, and it comes down to the back. My sky was connected to my water still. Ooh, I agree. This is one of my favorite ones. I wish they had, like... The only thing I don't like about these is they don't have, like, color names on their little markers. So I don't really have, like, a way to, like, rebuy specific ones if I want to. Without a test pad, which... I think you can buy them individually at the art store, but I'd be more likely to just buy a new pack, to be honest, because I tend to wear all my markers out anyway. Keep hitting my headphones on the webcam. Oof. It didn't hurt, but it popped, and it was like a weird, like, sideways pop. Felt icky. Had a bad sensory. Had to make a weird noise about it. It's such a big stretch. Phew. Okay. This is looking pretty good, I think. I think that all of these colors have agreed with me so far. Oops. Did not mean to drop that. How do I want to do? I'm not sure if I want to do just like your traditional, how people draw them lightning bolts that are yellow. If I want to take one of the blues that I did in the water and like do it in blue and then go back in with like the white paint and like put a line down it, because that kind of makes it look I don't know what this means. It looks like kind of like, you know, there's a certain color blue that just is really hot light, like from lightning and stuff, and it just like has white in the middle and it looks so searing. I might do that. Not that blue. Just definitely not that blue. But then I think this dark one is too dark. Okay, I think I'm gonna do this very, very dark in a fine line, and then I'm gonna go back in with this, and then I'm gonna go in with white for the very center. I wasn't planning on using paints today, so it might take me a minute when it comes time to grab it to figure out where. I know roundabouts where all my paints are, but sometimes they migrate. I'm gonna go in around this one with this bright green to separate the water. Okay. And I'll just go back in with like a very fine white center. Trying to decide if I should leave this part that's supposed to be the sky. Not leave it, but like, I think I should do just one color. And then kind of like with the clouds, go in with like some stipplings. I've got like, this is very similar in color to this. Even though it looks much more yellow, it's more of like a sickly green. I feel like that could look good for a stormy sky, because sometimes that happens. That's like an orangish, which honestly I might take this and put it in the water some. Oh yeah, I like this. I'm just gonna do this while I think about it. That looks pretty cool. I think I'm gonna go ahead and go with this. Ooh, that's a scary green storm sky. The sky looks like that around here. Usually that means that there's like a tornado coming. I said that with the most accent. Oh my god. I didn't mean to do that. There's a tornado coming. Dumb. That looks cool, I think. Thank you, Sin. I'm going back in with the dark gray instead of the black that I did on the clouds. Just for a little bit more like variation. can't decide if I'm ready for the white yet. Like, I probably am getting really close. I'm gonna go ahead and look for it. Ouch. Oops. Is this it? That's good enough. Ouch. Shit. Okay. Now that I've crashed into everything possible. I didn't find my regular white paint, but I found this iridescent paint. And I also found this Dolphin Gray, which I'm going to probably use as like a base for some of these larger spots, and then go back in and give them some shine. Good morning, little stubby toes, and thank you so much. Oof, gotta get my seat all situated. I haven't even opened this gray yet. Okay. Going in with the dry brush, because we are living bold, living on the edge. Some might even say we're living like Larry right now. This color looks really good. I need to remember that I have to be careful jumping around with the brush like this though, because these are not like markers. If I'm not careful, I might wreck myself. I'm gonna leave some of these extra dots that I'm doing as the gray for a little, like, I don't know, realism for where light catches and stuff. I'm literally just going to wipe this on my hands, because we are professional. I'm fanning the paper with my hand. Okay. Let's go in with the iridescent. I did not notice that, but you're right. That looks really cool. I didn't even try and do that. I was just making fluffy cloud. I don't know how much this iridescent will show up on the camera, but I think at the very least on the finished product it'll look good, and I'll be able to take some pictures of it. Ooh, if I glob it, it works. Kind of pops out there. You're right, send it you. Doing pretty good, Stubby. I had a little bit of a slow start, but I was still technically alive on time. I think, so I'm not 100% sure, but I think that I might want to outline just the very back edge of the little boat in the iridescent, like it's glowing as it's sailing out of the storm. Is that too metaphorical? Is that too cheesy, or is that cute? I think it might be cute. I think I'm gonna do it. I just have to be careful because I painted all of the dots first and now I have to hold my hand so specifically. Oof, gotta scoot up closer or it won't work. Just trying to do the smallest line humanly possible. It's not easy. That is a flamingo head. It is also, look, it's a pencil sharpener flamingo head My mom got me this when I started art school. Oops, I almost dropped it. My mom got me this when I started art school because she said it reminded her of Alice in Wonderland, and that was one of my favorite things in the whole world growing up was Alice in Wonderland. Which honestly still I really love Alice in Wonderland. The themes are just so fun to play with artistically. And let's be real, flamingos are just crazy. They're crazy and majestic and neat. Iridescent paint is like, it's not hard to work necessarily, but it is like thicker than regular acrylic paint. So I keep getting like as small of a bit as possible so that I don't overdo it. But these lines do need to be thickened up to be visible. Yeah, like that. Something like that. I think that looks pretty good. Okay, I need to rinse my paintbrush. Wait, what could be why? Oh my god. I wasn't only paying a little bit of attention. Was it because of the flamingo? Ooh. Yeah, I just now linked that together. I was like, wait, teacups? Alice? What? It could be. Also, I just have always loved teacups. My grandma, listen, she made a shit cup of tea. Like, straight up, it was sweet brown water. It was not delicious or savory or amazing, but I have always just loved tea. And she had an antique store when she was younger, when my grandfather was overseas, and she had like a whole, like, she had like 5 or 6 really ornate teacup sets, and some of them he brought back from Korea and stuff like that, and they were always just so beautiful, and I'm always just like, ah, yes, the antique to have is a teacup set. So pretty. So pretty. Even though I usually drink my tea out of mugs, but we're not going to address that. Oh yeah, I was going to wipe my brush. I will be right back. Oh yeah, I need my journal. Where did I put that? Okay. While this dries, I'm gonna move it And I'm going to show you that journal page. It technically says high sobriety, but it's not about getting high. It's like high society is what the play on was. But this is my bullet journal. I added the stickers myself, but I found this. Where did I find this? It was either Target or the art store, and then I got the stickers from Wish, and they're like clear holographic, and I was just so into it. But yeah, I keep it next to my commission log. So this is year 1, and then this is just like the whole tracker. Like, it doesn't even really explain what it is, but part of that is on purpose. Just because, I don't know, I was a little bit not apprehensive and not really embarrassed, but at the same time, I didn't want to necessarily, if I were to like leave this open somewhere, I didn't want it to be like so telling, you know what I mean? What colors am I gonna use? I'm gonna start with like a coral pink for the outer rim and the stripes. Okay, there's 4 stripes on there. I'm not going to do them all the same color. I'm going to do these little lines in here, this color. I also have like this very soft peach color. Well, it's not like peachy, but it's not quite orange enough to be peachy, but you know what I'm trying to say. This soft pink. I'm really excited for dinner tonight because we are getting sushi. I'm super hyped for it. Honestly, anytime anything good happens or exciting happens to me, I'm just like, oh, Patrick, can we get sushi? The only thing that would make this good day a great day. I try to not pull the sushi card too often though, because he does not love fish like the way I do. He will eat certain fish, like he'd eat like fried catfish if he could get good fried catfish around here, like all the time, no questions asked. But like with sushi, he's a bit hit and miss because he only really likes the cooked kind, which I don't really like that kind, but I can respect why. Like, he's not big on like the raw fish texture. What color do I want to do this tag? And the place we go has really good fusion sushi. But if you don't eat sushi, like, there's only so many like options that they don't deliver, but you pick it up. But like, it only rides in the car for so long with certain of the cooked dishes where they don't taste like kind of different. This is gonna be way too dark, I think. Where's my scratch paper? I'll do this one in light blue because it'll be visible. Yeah, something like that. Something like that. So yeah, that is my, yeah, and in 4 years I get to color the heart cup. So, pretty excited about that. I really like this one that I did for 4 though, because I did this little lipstick mark on it. My grandma didn't have teacups that looked like this one. She had more that looked like this one with the flower on it, but she always wore this, like, I don't know how to explain this lip color. It's kind of like this, like a mix between the two pinks in this. She would wear it every single day that I knew her. And she would always leave lip marks on all of her cups, and for some reason that's just like a visual that I think of a lot when I think of teacups and stuff at her house. I'm just like, oh yes, the lip marks. The same ones that went on my cheek and part of my ear. I think this is almost dry already though, because I put it on pretty light. I think this turned out way better than I thought it was going to. I almost wish it was like more in the center of the page, but something I'm thinking about is I don't have construction paper right now, but like I could eventually like just very carefully go around the bottle and then put it on like a background paper and then frame that or something. I don't know. Where's my brush marker? I want to write my name. I literally just had it. There it is. Okay. I usually, not to sound like a perfectionist, I usually sketch out my name before I sign my stuff, but I'm not going to. Merlin! Don't scream. Yeah. I think it looks sloppy in a good way. Are you dry? Almost. Almost dry. Oh, I have to do another stretch. Ooh, decoupage. You're right. I love that shit. I also have some, somewhere. I don't know where I have it. But I have some scrapbooking paper pads, like the really large square ones, and I bet I have some with colors that like go along with this somewhere. I bet I could dig those out later. I used to do quite a bit of decoupage when I was younger. Okay, but yeah, so. Oh, shit. Shit. Where did my thing go? I forgot that I was gonna put the white in the lightning. I have to go get my brush back from the kitchen. Okay. Now that I'm done being forgetful. I can't tell if I feel like it just suddenly got darker in here or not. Or if I've just not been paying attention to how dark it is in here. I might turn on a light in a second. That is very bright. Oof. Yeah, that looks really sharp now. Okay, I've been on for almost 3 hours. So, I'm fanning this with my hand, by the way. That looks weird. I just realized. It's just like some weird, vague flapping in the background. I'm probably going to get ready to get off of here, though. Because this is all I have planned, partially, and I don't know what time we're trying to get sushi or anything like that. So, it would probably be better if I go ahead and do that. So, yeah. Thank you so much, everybody. And I appreciate you coming and hanging out with me. It made it today, like, really fun. Because at first when I realized my year was coming up, I had no idea what I was going to do. And until last week, I didn't realize it was even on a Friday. So, that was really fun. I'm looking for... Who do we have streaming? Is anyone we know and love on? Cree is on, right? Is he? Is he not? No, he went to lay down? Okay. Okay. I don't know why it never shows me. Oops. There he is, okay. Also, like, right under his name, which I'm clicking on, there's a person, and I don't know what they're playing because they're doing games and demos, but I just need y'all to know that their name is I Love Holes, and their user photo is like a hole in the ground, so. I'm gonna start this raid now. We are going to raid I Love You. I Love You is really cool. So yeah, thank you again for hanging out with me on my sobriety birthday. That means a lot to me, you guys. I love you all, and I think you all will love I love you because he's nice. So. Doo-doo.